Amber?
It's good. You're on.
All right.
You're on live.
Being that it's the hour of 5 o'clock, we're going to get this meeting started. First item of business is approval of the minutes for the October 25th, 2021 meeting.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? All right. Item 0891-21. Communication requesting the approval of an agreement allowing Officer David Arvai to take ownership and control of a retired Titan from the Racine Police Department. So do we have anybody from the PD to speak on it? I mean, this is something we normally do. I don't know if we need to even discuss it or not.
Right.
So,
I move for approval.
all right, we have a motion to approve. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any questions? Opposed? All right, moving on. 0905-21, communication on behalf of the Chief of Police requesting appointment of a humane officer to the Racine Police Department. Staff recommendations is approval to appoint a humane officer to the Racine Police Department. Anything from the police department on this?
I got nothing.
Yeah, this is, I know they had just appointed 4 and 1 had left, and that's why this is in front of us right now.
I move to approve.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? All right, moving on. 0906-21. Communication requesting to adopt ordinance number 0020-21. Amendment to commercial electric scooter ordinances. Is city attorney or anybody want to speak on this item?
Alder Cole, I can speak on the item. I'm sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
So previously, the committee approved the renewal of the scooter pilot program. Essentially, what this does is it changes the ordinance to reflect that approval. If I recall correctly, the committee voted to approve 150 scooters rather than the original 100 scooters for last year. And the other thing we would do with this ordinance would be to move the sunset date out 1 year. So those are the two things that the ordinance does.
Any questions from anyone on the committee?
Yeah, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Thank you. So I read the report. It seemed flattering. Originally, I wasn't at that meeting, but all the people that I've talked to or have complained to me about those things, I haven't seen anything positive of anybody that's actually been challenged by a kid on the street with one of the scooters. We don't know how he has it because you need a credit card to be on it. And when I drove downtown too, I had a couple kids on these things jump out in front of me in the road and thinking, how in the world are they doing this? Unfortunately, I missed that meeting. I'm not sure why, but I don't think it's a good idea. I don't think it's a good idea to make it more of an issue, more of a problem. Jeff, you had something to say about it before. Can you remind us?
I'm not so sure I like the idea myself because of all the things, but they have changed some things. Like at the beginning when they first started this, they had anybody with a charge card could go on there. So that's why we had a problem with a bunch of kids and everything. And they changed that where you have to show an ID actually. So, I mean, originally the ask was for another 100 and I didn't support that. And so then they talked about it a little bit longer. If Alderman Caprillion wants to speak to it, they think it's a good idea. So we upped it to 50. I still hesitant about it, but we're coming in revisiting it in a year from now. So I don't know if Alder Caprillion wants to speak to this.
I'd be happy to. So Alder Perez, yes, it was talked about that initially the request was to go to 300. And then what came before us was 200, just because they felt like it would be too big of an ask. And so they went down to 200. This committee had then voted for, you know what, let's just knock that 100 additional down to half, and again, compromising. And the thoughts were, this is a new program. There is some growing pains. We all need to adjust. You know, there's going to be this evolution of change, which means there's going to be things that we learn that we should do, we could do better, and just trying to change the perspective. If we're going to offer something new to our community, whether we're using it for leisure or actually using it to commute and another form of transportation to our community, we need to go all in. And let's go all in, try this out. The good thing is that we get to revisit it after a year. I think some of the things that were brought up is, you know, a lot of times they're just laid about, or they're broken, or, you know, things like that. So it did get talked about. And the one thing that maybe you noticed in your email, it was requested that we get the communication for various issues and the people who we can call, which is so helpful. You know, I've had to go to the actual scooter myself and look on it to, you know, get the number. And I think that, you know, this is, again, this is a pilot for our city. We are still feeling the growing pains through it, but I feel that we need to move forward with it. I'm in support of it. This right now is just changing the language. It's not really up or downing what we passed before. It's just changing the language for it. But, you know, I would just offer, you know, try to look at it from a perspective of newness. And it just takes a little bit of getting used to, and then hopefully we can find better ways to manage it where it becomes more of an asset and not a hindrance to our city.
Yeah, I have
Go ahead.
on the corner of Ohio and Washington, there are 2 scooters. The last
They're
couple
still
months.
sitting there. Yeah, they've been sitting there for, that's the problem. They're
And
not
that's not
picking
even in the
these-
zone. So I don't
They're
know
not
what.
picking
to
these
do.
scooters
Why
up in a
haven't-
timely
that kind of thing.
fashion. That's one thing.
So that's kind of my complaint with it. They've been in my area. They don't belong in my area. I'm not in the area that was originally approved for it. The speed limit on Ohio and Washington is way more than the limit on the on the scooter thing. So if the person that's responsible for picking them up at night and charging them is not doing their job, then we need to get on their case and have them do something.
They were apprised of that at the last meeting. So hopefully they get this rectified.
Chairman Cole?
Perez.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Nope, I'm
Well-
sorry. Go ahead. Alder
No.
Wood.
No, I was just gonna say, Alder Perez, also at the last meeting, they did send all the alders a number. I had the same problem over in my area, but there was a number that I called, and like within a couple of hours, they were gone. I did have the same issue, like there's one sitting down at Racine County where I go to work. It's been sitting there since last week. And I didn't know whether the county or somebody there was gonna call, but it's still sitting there. So just that number, I will say calling them, and they did do it. They had a pretty lengthy presentation on some of the things that they were going to change. And so hopefully, it can get that number out to, anybody in your area to get those things picked up.
And Alderman Perez, this is another year we gave them, so this isn't a forever thing. So we will be revisiting this again next year. So any other comment? Any other comments? Otherwise, I'd entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
All right. Moving on. Next item, 0846-21, communications submitting an application for a Class B retail fermented malt beverage and intoxicating liquor license. Will's Quality Cleaning Service LLC, doing business as Top 10 Sports Zone, 1301 Washington Avenue. William Reyes Gonzalez, agent, 3rd District. Do we have him on?
Yes, I am. I'm here.
All right. Nu, could you swear the applicant in, please?
You can, Mr. Chair. Mr. Gonzalez, if you could raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
We are here on your application today. You will have a chance to tell the committee about your business and why you are applying for this license. After that, the committee may ask some questions of you. The chair will then check to see if city staff has any information to add or if any members of the audience wishes to speak for or against the license. Now, please go ahead and tell us about your business.
Okay, so my business on 1301 Washington Avenue. I intend on opening a sports bar, initiated to be called Top 10 Sports Zone on 1301 Washington Avenue, and basically just a sports bar for the community in the uptown area.
What are your hours gonna be?
Okay, hours, I aim to be from 5 to 12:30. I do aim to close at 12:30 every night. One thing we do want to avoid is like the after hour crowds. I know that's an issue that we've been having around the city. So that's something I don't want in my establishment. But so Monday through Saturday, it'd be 5 to 12:30. And then Sundays with football season in, I do intend on opening a little earlier, between 11 and 12:30. I do got a new lighting plan to light up the whole place, being that that place is real dark. And even when you ride by now, you really can't see much in that area. So we do have new renovations coming with new lighting that light up basically that whole corner and that surrounding area. And I do have a premium security surveillance system that's getting in place that will be compliant with the police if need be.
Can we get what's on the Good Neighbor report?
Sure, so I can just summarize it for you really quickly. It was a pretty straightforward meeting. The application or the meeting mostly discussed the agent experience. As noted, Mr. Gonzalez does not have any experience in the restaurant or alcohol industry. He does have a full-time partner that he is working with, also known as his senior manager, Mr. Townsend. I don't know if he's on the other line as well, but Mr. Townsend, likewise.
Yes, he is here as well.
Thank you. And Mr. Townsend likewise does not have any experience with food or alcohol, but he states that he did work as a building manager at a community college and does have some experience with crowd control. There were really no issues discussed specifically with the police department, just because this is a newer business, although Sergeant Ortiz might be able to tell you more about the previous issues located at that specific location. And then I just highlighted the closing hour restrictions because this is a Class B. Typically, the committee would not be able to force them to close any earlier, but they are agreeing to earlier hours. So I did inform Mr. Gonzalez that he is bound by those hours. He cannot extend them without the committee's approval.
Anything from police? Rob, you want to speak on this at all?
I talked to him a little bit at the Good Neighbor meeting, and that location, if you go back probably 10 years or probably even farther than that, we did have shootings there. We had the homicide that was at that bar. We had problems with overcapacity. So my main concern was keeping the capacity down, compliance with police officers. Obviously getting in contact with us if and when there are any problems at the bar. I think in the past, the people who were running the bar waited a little bit too long when problems were beginning, and that just escalated to the point where by the time we got there, it was just full blown. So I talked to William about this. I talked to him about the security cameras, the capacity, the cooperation with the police. When something happens and being proactive before things happen.
William, could you speak a little bit? I heard that you had contacted the Uptown Association and the Tavern League and stuff. Could you speak to that? I mean, I think you're trying to do everything right here. I just want to.
Yes, I did contact both of them. I am in the middle of enrolling. I'm meeting with John Dunk tomorrow, and then the Uptown Association lady as well. So just, we want to join those, and we will be a part of those. Just a great source for us, and somebody to have our back, and so we can just basically have a good good information on how to run everything and what to and what not to do.
And you're also, I heard, looking facade grant for lighting and a new door and a window and stuff. So it sounds like you're doing everything that you need to do here.
Yes, we did get those applications in for the facade grants. That would help us out with our new lighting and the security system, and of course, the emergency back door that needs to be steel.
Okay, so is there any other questions from anybody on the committee? Alderman Caprillion, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Mr. Gonzalez. So this is a new venture that you're taking on. There's no experience with you or your partner in serving liquor or running a liquored establishment, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so what a huge endeavor you're taking on, and it also comes with a huge responsibility. You know, hats off to you that you want to go ahead and jump in. I would like you just to maybe speak a little bit more, but first I want to comment on, you know, I'm happy to hear that you are reaching out because it is something new, that you are reaching out to the Tavern League, that you're reaching out to the Uptown Bid Board and utilizing the grants that are available to you to hopefully improve that area. My comments are not speaking so much to the past, but to that location. The location I see, you know, is right there on Washington Avenue, and you have a big parking lot across the street and like an abandoned one or something that's right next door to the building next to you. And so a little bit of comfort there just because the lack of homes that are surrounding the area. So you can really focus on business. But I do know that there is a movement in the Uptown area where, you know, they're trying to rebuild that area. I hope you're aware of that and trying
Yes.
to approve it. Very good to hear. And I know that they're always doing projects, whether they're cleanup efforts or art endeavors or art projects that they're doing, and they're really trying to have those business owners really be part of that regrowth and rebuild, not only investing in that space. And so I would just encourage you, I believe you have another job on top of this, is what I read in your application. So I'm not posing that on you, but I would hope as you open up something new that you're truly invested in this space. So getting to know the neighbors, just so you know, they're going to be the first people who are going to let you know if something's the matter, you know, before it gets to us at this level. Can you talk about why you wanted to take on something like this? Because it hasn't something you or your partner done in the past.
Just wanted to, we've seen the space, we've seen the opportunity, we've seen the lack of sports bar in the community. And then to me, in my eyes, I watch sports. Me and my partner, we watch sports all the time. So just we wanted to bring something to the city that comforts people when they come watch sports, and just something different, a newer establishment, and something for the community just to come and watch sports and enjoy it, especially in the Uptown area. It's really no bars in that area other than the Uptown Bar and Grill, which is to the back end of the Uptown by the train tracks. So just we see the opportunity, we see the vision, and we just want to bring something really nice to the community.
Yeah, thank you for answering that. The one thing, and I think you kind of spoke to it, but I guess I want to continue to drop weight on your shoulder. This is a huge responsibility. You know, not many people, it's a privilege to be able to serve liquor, and it comes with a lot of responsibility, and we're just really hoping that you take that serious. And you're right, there isn't much there, so you basically are setting the tone. So please keep that in mind, and you know, I hope that this is a wonderful addition to Uptown, and it's part of the regrowth of that area.
I'm looking forward to it, hopefully.
Thank
All
you.
right, any other questions? All right, I would entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Any questions? All right. Good luck, Mr. Gonzalez.
Thank you
This will
very
go to
much.
This will go to council next week to be voted on, and then after that, once you get all your inspections and done, and you'll be able to open. So good luck.
Sounds great. Thank you very much, guys.
All right. All right, we're moving on to item 079821, and I'm going to ask Alder Horton if he would take this item. I'm going to recuse myself.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. Oh, go ahead, Lou. I see your hand is up.
Thank you, Alder Horton. So there is supposed to be a representative from RPD here to speak on the matter, and I don't know why they are not here. So I'm trying to get a hold of them. As you know, DC Matoya was here 2 weeks ago to speak on the item. So if you would mind deferring this or skipping it for now, I'm trying to get a hold, and it looks like someone is responding. So if you could just give me some time to get them on the line, that would be really
All right,
appreciated.
well, we'll move on to the next item to get moving. So it's, oh, you might have to speak to us, so I'm probably going to have to wait on that also. But it's item 090021, communication requesting the appearance of Janessa Ramos for an operator's license. But we'll have to wait on the police department anyway.
Isn't the police department there? It's just turning loose.
Rob, are you on yet?
Yeah,
Okay, I apologize then. So, do we have Miss Ramos on? And we still have to get her sworn in anyway, and I don't have my
Yes,
book. All right, you give me a second. I got to get my book a minute.
Aljico, I'm available.
Okay, yeah, could you swear the applicant in, please?
Yes. If you could raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Are you there, Miss Ramos?
oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know you were speaking to me. Yes,
Okay.
Thank you. You were here today because you either provided a false statement on your license application or have been convicted of at least one offense which disqualified you for a license. As a result, you are generally disqualified from obtaining an operator's license unless you can demonstrate to the committee that you have been rehabilitated and that there's good cause for the false statement. We will start with the police department's background check, and then you will have an opportunity to address the committee. Now, please go ahead, Sergeant Ortiz.
okay, in doing a records check, it had shown that in 2019, there was a misdemeanor charge of actual conviction, possessing illegal obtained prescription. There was another misdemeanor conviction in 2019 of a possession of drug paraphernalia. And then in 2020, it looks like there was another misdemeanor conviction for disorderly conduct. That would put her at 3 convictions within the last 3 years, which directly relates to number 3 of the disqualification rules. Number 4, also being a habitual offense, 2 or more offenses within the past year, 3 or more within the past 5 years. And then it would also disqualify her under number 5, which is false statement on the license application. So those are the 3 convictions that in doing her check, I came across.
Ms. Ramos, can you explain to us why you answered that question on there? Have you ever been convicted of any offenses? And basically you don't have to include minor traffic offenses, but you answered no. Can you
well,
explain
my
to us?
friend was helping me out with the application, and she was filling it out, and she didn't know I had any until after she had did that part, and she kind of filled in the information for me of that part without me knowing, and she we had just gotten close around that time. So she didn't know about my past history of my background.
Well, this is kind of your responsibility, young lady. So I'm gonna reserve anything. And does any of the other alders have any questions at all?
Yes.
Okay, Alder Peterson and Alder Caprillion.
Okay, one, kind of referencing what Alder Cole stated, that Ms. Ramos, you did sign this as your application and you are responsible. Two, it doesn't say on here the business where you plan on being licensed. Where do you plan on working with the license?
I plan on working at Double Visions on Douglas.
Okay. All right. One of the things I know we've done in the past where we've had issues with people not filling this out properly for neglect or for whatever reason, is we've asked them to inform their employer of their offenses. So, and then come back with the employer giving a letter or acknowledgement that you inform them of the offenses. Would you be willing to talk to the employer at Double Vision and have that individual either write us a letter or communicate with us that you've informed them of the offenses that have occurred?
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Alder Caprillion.
Thank you. Ms. Ramos, I am going to just state that is your signature on the application. So that is your responsibility. All of us need help sometimes filling things out, but ultimately, if you are the one asking for this, it ultimately is your responsibility. And so, I mean, I'm just looking at the application right now. There is a few questions on there that are very clear and it's not daunting. To say the least, just a couple questions. And so with your review, it should have been caught, and there is a responsibility with serving liquor. And so we want to make sure that the people who we are approving these applications for understand that, and they're, taking it seriously. And so if it's being overlooked, I then question what else is being overlooked. I'm not going to place judgment on your past, but you kind of leave the door open if you are not being honest. And so I understand sometimes talking about those things that we might not be proud of, to be able to publicly put that on there is not something that we want to do. But you're asking for us to approve something that carries a weight and a responsibility that can affect our community in a negative way if not done well. So I have a real hard time with this. Alder Peterson is right. We have in the past asked those who have come before us to have their employers write a letter in support and really vouching for your character. They'll know you better than we know you. We just have this application that's been falsified, and that's a hard pill for me to swallow. I am not in support of this as it sits right now. But if this committee does decide to vote and defer this for your employer to send us a letter, I'd be willing to take a look at that. Is this you were applying to work at Double Vision, or is this a place you've been employed?
No, I was going to apply there because they're looking for bartenders right now. But I am working full-time at a cleaning company, and I was honest with them. I am always honest with my criminal background because obviously that's something that they can look up.
Yes, absolutely. So I hope you realize the weight of this, and it does state which Wisconsin laws that that you are signing off to, and why you need to answer this honestly. So again, this is a hard one for me to support, just because this application was quite short too. So that's just where I sit right now, Ms. Ramos, but I will now yield my time to any of the other committees. members.
Any other questions from any other the members?
Make a motion to defer until the applicant comes back with a letter of some sort, communication from the proposed new employer stating that they've been made aware of the situation and they're okay with it.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions on it? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed? None? All right. Ms. Ramos, we want you to bring something back in the next, before our next meeting from the employer stating that they know about this. So, so this will be
Okay.
deferred for 2 weeks. All right, then,
Okay,
thank you.
sounds good. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, are we ready on the other one, New?
Yes, it looks like we have Chief Robinson on as well as the Assistant Chief Alex Ramirez.
All right, so
All
go
right.
ahead, Alder Horton.
All right, item 07982, subject communication sponsored by Article, submitting a renewal application for a 2021-22 motor vehicle towing license, Racine Recover LLC, doing business as Racine Recovery, located at 5336 Douglas Avenue in the 4th District. Recommendation, the Public Safety Committee, that the renewal application for 2021-22 motor vehicle towing license, LLC, doing business as Racing Recovery, located at 5336 Douglas Avenue, to be deferred. And I'll let New talk a little bit about that. And is the owners of Racing Recovery on the phone?
Actually, that's just what I was going to point out to the chair. I don't see the licensee on there.
Okay, they
I would ask the
asked-
Assistant City Clerk to check.
See what I can do.
Naomi, do you have anyone waiting to get in?
Unmute. Am I on now?
Oh, there we go.
Hello?
Yes.
You guys are on.
Sorry, it was muted.
Alder Cole, you're not muted.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So New, is that the
It is
The
the
applicant?
licensee, the
Okay.
applicant, yes.
so at this time, could you swear them in, New, or do you want to go ahead with the beginning part of it?
Sure, I can actually swear in all of the witnesses, and then it's
Yes.
up to the committee which witnesses you take in order. So Assistant Chief Ramirez and then Chief Robinson, oh, who's no longer there. Okay, so Assistant Chief Ramirez, if you could raise your right hand. You are muted. Naomi, if you wouldn't mind, there we go. If you could raise your right hand, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
I do.
Thank you, Chief Ramirez. And then Mr. Kaneko, if you could raise your right hand as well. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
I do.
And Chief Robinson, if you could raise your right hand, please.
I do.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Alder Horton, I'll refer the matter back to you.
Okay, so this is, for the committee, this is something that had been deferred a couple of times, and I think the last time Deputy Chief Matoya was here, but we didn't have the applicant here. So now that we have the police department here and we have the applicant here, so we'll hear from Robert first. Like, the last name is not spelled out all the way on my screen. So if you'd like to just talk a little bit about the renewal of the application. Rob?
We muted him real quick because there's a lot of background noise. We're just asking him to unmute real quick.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. What would you like me to speak about again?
Say it again, Rob, I didn't hear you.
What would you like me to speak about?
Oh, just the application. I know that the last time we were here, it was deferred, and the police department was going out to talk to you, and this is just about renewing the application.
Okay, so I guess that's where I'm a bit confused. So we had submitted our application for renewal, and in the meantime, I believe we had received a letter stating that we need to come in front of the committee. Then the first time, that's when I was formally kind of made aware that there may be some issues with our billing. I then received a certified letter the second time showing the documentation, which I did reach out to Lieutenant Martin Pavonis, and we had discussed, I basically told him what was, I guess, the issue. I don't really know what the issue is, to be honest with you. So I guess I'm a bit confused.
Okay, we'll have our city attorney, we'll have Nuda come and kind of just give us an overview of where we at and why we're here today.
Sure. So the matter is before the committee for a renewal of a license. The committee is to determine whether or not they want to renew. But first, you have to decide whether or not there are any violations. As the committee sees from its packet, there was a letter that was submitted for its review indicating that there had been violations by Racine Recovery for illegal billing practices. So that is why the department or the police department is here. They are here to speak on that violation. So if you'd like to hear directly from the Chief Robinson as well as Chief Ramirez on what the allegations are, the committee should then determine whether or not there is a violation and then subsequently whether or not the license should be renewed. I would just note for the committee that there's actually nothing in the ordinance that governs the renewal of this type of license. There is a procedure for suspension and revocation. This is not a suspension or revocation hearing. This is a hearing to determine whether or not to renew the license. So there's no requirement that the licensee be informed of anything, although he was in this case informed first by the police department and then subsequently by the city clerk that he had to appear and that the violations are being alleged in this point at this time.
So at this time, can we hear from Chief Robinson or the Assistant Chief on this matter?
Yes, I'll try to do this. I was a little bit short when it came up on the emails, but as I understood it, the issue was some of the excessive fees that that the company was charging for a specific tow. Excuse me. There was $485 for a tow, $75 for an administrative fee, $75 for a pullout, and then storage of $3,000 at $75 a day. And I understood at one point in one of the invoices that there was some COVID fee that was also being charged. So as my understanding is, this far and away exceeds what any of our other providers charge when we use their services. DC Matoya had some more information, but her Wi-Fi connection was sketchy. So she sent me a photograph of one of the invoices. And I thought Sergeant Ortiz also had some additional information he had gotten from Lieutenant Pavlonis. Rob, is that correct?
Sorry, Chief, that is not, I did not ever hear back from him.
Okay. But that was one of the charges that stuck out to us in terms of other towing companies that we have in our rotation. If Mr. Konecko would like to explain how we arrived at that kind of charge, it would be deeply appreciated by everybody.
Mr. Konecko, you still there?
Hold on. Can you hear me now?
Yep, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. So here's where the confusion lies. So Racine Recovery is on the rotation list. That is the towing provider that's on the rotation list. So we tow vehicles off rotation for multiple municipalities, and those vehicles come to yard. Once they're in yard, it's up to the owner discretion where that vehicle leaves, if it stays in their yard or if it goes to another provider or a shop or a service station or any of the sort. Those bills in front of you are not bills from our facility. They're bills per owner's request that were moved to the body shop. Once it's in the body shop hands, they're not mandated by any ordinance or rules. I mean, that's negotiable with the insurance company. We're out of that realm. I mean, none of those bills that you're seeing have our name on them. So I'm guess I'm a bit confused. I mean, if we tow vehicles to any shop, be it Racine Auto Body, Gerber, Caliber Collision, A1, AC, once we get paid for our tow, our secondary tow, and our storage, whatever they do with that bill is up to them. So I guess I'm a bit confused.
Alder Caprillo.
Thank you for recognizing me. I do have some questions on the invoices because not only the one that Chief Robinson referenced, we have a few other ones that we're looking at. And it does state a tow charge on there. Can you speak to that? The tow charge is $385. So there are other itemized charges, but one of them is towing.
Yeah, so that's the total that finishing touch charges the insurance companies. That may include the initial police call, that may include some of our storage, that may include our secondary tow and their markup. That is not a tow bill from Racine Recovery.
I'm sorry, I apologize to cut you off. Your speaker's kind of fuzzy, and I just want clarity on one question. So when it says towing for $385, and then it lists, itemizes some other expenses, and what did you say to that? That includes the towing from the crash site, and then includes something else? I couldn't hear because it was fuzzy. Mr. Kaneko, are you able to clarify?
On what again, ma'am? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I guess I'm asking you to repeat a point because your connection got fuzzy. In the itemized receipt, it does have towing listed along with some other expenses or itemized charges. And you then answered and were telling me about those charges. Could you repeat for me, please, so I can hear you?
I think the problem lies is you're relating the body shop to the tow yard. We're two separate entities here. Like we have two separate business licenses. We have two separate businesses. Finishing Touch Auto Body is not on rotation. Racine Recovery is.
I understand that, Mr. Konepko. Can you clarify, but there is a tow charge. We are seeing tow charges.
Right, so that's what the body shop would charge, including their markup. That may include a secondary tow. That may include a transfer into shop. That may include a day of storage from the tow yard. I mean, it all adds up to that amount. That's the price that they set for accidents that come to shop. Those are not billed out through Racine Recovery.
Mr. Konepko, can you explain to me what a secondary tow is, please?
Any tow that leaves our yard to another facility.
And so a secondary tow would have storage, pull out, crash wrap in it?
Are not our charges. We are not Finishing Touch Auto Body. We don't fix cars. We are Racine Recovery.
Who owns Finishing Touch? Do you?
Nope, my father does.
Or your father?
Yep.
Okay.
I apologize. I did Google both addresses and they both come up with the same address.
Absolutely not. We are located next door. We have our own billing address. We have our own federal ID. We have everything separated. Racine Recovery comes up as 5336 Douglas Avenue. Finishing Touch comes up as 5306 Douglas Avenue.
Can I jump in before I recognize the next person? Amber, could you mute? I think the assistant chief is not muted, and Naomi is not muted. And Rob, when you're not speaking, could you please mute yourself until I call on you or someone asks your question, please?
You want me to mute myself?
Once we call on you, then you'll be recognized to come on. We're just having a lot of feedback here. So
Okay, I'll go ahead and mute him.
Okay, at this time, Attorney New. And then we'll go to Chairman Cole. I think he has his hand up too.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I just wanted to address 2 points that were raised by Mr. Koneko here. The first is that Racine Recovery is the licensee, and he is correct. The license that the city granted is to Racine Recovery. It is not granted to Finishing Touches. Per the ordinance, when Racine Recovery receives a phone call from the police department to tow a vehicle, they are the ones that had to send the bill directly to the owner. That is required by ordinance. They do not have the authority to pass along the vehicle to any other company, including Finishing Touches, to charge for that tow, because Finishing Touches, again, per Mr. Kennico, does not have a towing license. So that is illegal per the ordinance. The second thing I wanted to point out is the body shop, as Chief Robinson pointed out. Finishing Touch looks like it's also owned by Kathy Koneko. It looks like it's the same last name. So even though Mr. Koneko is saying it's a different company, when you Google the addresses, they do come up on the same property. Investigator Ditch Site from the Racine Police Department did inform me that both of those companies, Finishing Touches as well as Racine Recovery, are located on the same premises. So there should be no towing charges from one company to the other because they're on the same lot. But the point is, even if it was a third company here, even if these companies are completely separate, Racine Recovery does not have the discretion or the authority to pass the vehicle along to someone else to charge for those towing fees. If, in fact, the Racine Recovery does the towing, they are allowed to charge for that towing and for the towing only per the prices in the ordinance, send that bill directly to the owner. If the owner then consents to having repair work or any additional work done by Finishing Touches, then Finishing Touches should be sending a separate bill to the owner indicating what those charges are for and should not include towing charges, because that, again, is not permitted per the ordinance. So I hope that clarifies some things, but if you have any additional questions, please let me know.
Anyone have any additional questions?
I wouldn't mind being recognized again, but I will give other committee members if they.
If not, Alder Caprio. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Oh, okay, not Peterson. Okay.
I will yield to Alder Peterson. Mhm.
You recognize Alder Peterson. Go ahead.
I guess I would like to hear from Mr. Koneko in those regards as to what Attorney New pointed out, that it sounds like, according to city ordinance, that his company should be doing the billing and not Finishing Touches. Do I read that right, Ms. New? Attorney New?
Yes, so the ordinance requires the licensee to bill the owner directly. And if you don't have a license, you can't charge for the towings.
Okay, so I was wondering if Mr. Koneko could speak to that. Being that he is connected, maybe not legally, but sounds like it may, I thought I heard him say his father owns one of the businesses.
Yes, it
ahead.
looks like it's listed under Kathy Koneko.
Hello, are you there? Hello?
Yep, go ahead. Go ahead.
The body shop is owned by my mother and father. And I could clarify the issue. If an owner wants their vehicle at a particular shop, be it any shop in Racine, we never bill the owner. We bill the shop. They pay us whatever is owed, and they put that on the repair estimate. Or if it ends up being a total loss, they charge the insurance company. So I'm a little confused on how the city ordinance would mandate us to collect from the owner before we move it to another collision shop. Let's just say Racine Auto Body. We constantly move vehicles out to them or to Gerber Collision or any of the shops in town, and they always pay us. So I guess I'm a bit confused on that. If the owner wants their vehicle moved, are you saying that we're supposed to collect the tow bill from the owner before we move it?
It sounds like Attorney New is saying that per city ordinance, they are the ones that are supposed to get the bill.
Okay, well, I can assure you, no one then follows that ordinance in town. 'Cause, I mean, that's what every tow yard does. I mean, if there's a client that wants their vehicle even at finishing touch, they move it there and the body shop pays the tow yard. The owner never pays the bill. So I guess then we're all not in conformance.
Okay,
I don't know. I guess, I mean, we're here to rectify the situation whatever way we can. So if there's an issue, I guess, I mean, I would definitely like to, take time to go through this with someone, but I just feel like I really can't prove much for you on this phone conference. So I guess I don't know where to go from here.
Attorney New. Oh, go ahead, Alder Peterson, you stay on the floor.
Because I'm a little concerned. We've been going at this for a month. Why, police department, I'm not saying it's you, I'm not saying it's the police department. I'm not sure why there hasn't been better communication as to the issues that have been raised.
All right, Attorney New, and then we're gonna go to Chief Robinson.
Well, I just wanted to put, and you know what, can you, Alder Horton, defer to Chief Robinson? He might be answering the same question I am, and I'll defer to him.
Okay, go ahead, Chief. Chief
All right,
Robinson.
if whoever's monitoring the call, DC Matoya had to call in. She has probably the most insight, so she's in a call-in number. If you could authorize her as a panelist, she can provide some insights on this.
Thanks, Chief.
Okay.
I think the number she's calling in from is 262-497-0764.
All right, I see her on now.
Hi,
All
can you hear
right.
me?
Yes.
Great. Okay, I am here and I guess where would you like me to start?
Well, we have a little confusion, so go ahead. Start from where you just want to give the information of what's going on.
Okay, sure. So traffic investigator Ditchite has spoken with Rob personally multiple times over the last few years about the overbilling of customers. Each time Rob has told him that his billing wasn't in accordance, and if he had if in accordance with the ordinance, and that if he had any questions to call, he would call TI Ditchite. This went on and on. We just recently received over the last couple of months another batch. And on August 14th, TI Ditchite spoke to John, who I believe is the manager, about the billing again. He told John at that time that this was going to be referred to the chief's office and to myself, because this is the third time that Rob was not following the city ordinance. Time to let Rob know that if he had any questions to call him again, or to call Mike again. Looking at the most recent bills, Rob has been overcharging people about $400 more than what he's supposed to be doing. And as an example, one of the extra charges added was a COVID charge, which, I mean, that's clearly not something that we would permit via the ordinance. In TI Ditchite's opinion, because as he's been dealing with this over the years, Rob has been billing people through his auto body shop in violation of the ordinance, going against the towing ordinance and contract. He also points out that Racine Recovery and Finishing Touch are on the same property as you guys have already discussed. And there's a trailer that is used as an office right next to Finishing Touch for the towing service. TI Ditchite, who deals with most all of our towing issues, has requested that they be taken off the list. Other towing companies are aware of this and have brought it forth to our traffic investigators, that they're concerned because they know that this is happening, and they don't believe that it's fair when the rest of them are following the ordinance. So that is what I have to add at this time.
All right, thank you.
Mhm.
Anyone else would like to speak on this item? Chairman Cole.
Yeah, I guess my question would be, so I guess a couple questions. Do we know if other towing companies are doing this or not? But my biggest concern is we got very few tow companies. I mean, if something is being done wrong here, I sure as hell want it rectified. But I would like to see if there's some way we can do something besides this, because we only got like with the new one we just got, we got 4 towing companies in the city of Racine that tow with, so they're on a rotation with the police department. And what happens in the wintertime, you know, you get multiple accidents and stuff like that. But I mean, I don't know who to ask this question to, but do we know if other towing companies are doing these type of charges or not?
Am I still unmuted? I can't tell.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, so what, we have not received any complaints of that, and we've had other towing companies come to us complaining that this is occurring with Racine Recovery because they have been made aware that it's a practice and they know that it is not correct.
I'll defer right now, but I mean, I wonder if we should let Mr. Kaneko answer that one, but I'll defer to, there's a couple other hands up. I'll defer right now. Thank you.
Okay. Alder Perez, do you want me to allow Mr. Kaneko to answer that part there, or I can give you the floor there and let you go ahead?
No, go ahead and have him answer.
Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Kaneko.
Okay, I'm back. What's the question? What am I answering here, Matt? Sir?
Chairman Cole, what's your question?
Hold on.
You're muted, Alder Cole.
Can you hear me now?
Go ahead.
All right. I guess what I'm asking is, I forgot how I phrased that, but what I'm asking is these charges. My question was, are other companies doing this? And why is it being done the way it is? And what is he charging wrong? And somebody else go right now. Let me think on what I want to say, and we'll go from there. Start.
Okay, Mr. Kaneko, if you can mute yourself again, and then also DC, I think you're on the phone, so you're not able to mute yourself. We will go to Alder Perez.
Thank you, Alder Horton. So my question is related somewhat to that of Alder Coe. We have a rotation. Do we know how often in a day or statistically the rotation goes through a rotation? For example, my question being, how many times a day does Racine Recovery get called in on a rotation on the average? I know that it could depend on the amount of crashes we have, but is there some kind of statistical average that we can refer to as we move along trying to make an evaluation here?
Anyone know that question for Alder Perez? Anyone?
Alder Horton, Chief Robinson has his hand up.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Chief Robinson. You have the floor.
No, I suspect that DC Matori may have that statistical data, but the question I wanted to make is, apparently this is the 3rd time that they've been caught with their kind of figurative hand in a cookie jar. How many chances do you get?
Alder Peterson.
Yes, this is a question for Mr. Kaneko. Obviously, there appears to be an issue with the billing that is done by a third party. Going forward, if we granted the license and kept you on the list, would you have a problem with doing direct billing per the city ordinance? I understand you're saying nobody else is doing it, but we haven't received complaints of overbilling from anybody else. Thank you.
Mr. Kaneko, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Go ahead.
Okay. I'm sorry, what was the question again?
The question was, going forward, I understand there's issues. You're not the one doing the billing, but per city ordinance, would you have a problem going forward with doing direct billing and not using a third party for the towing fees? At this point, you're the finishing touch or whoever your third parties are the only ones we're receiving complaints from. So if we granted you the license and kept you on the list, would you have a problem with doing direct billing per the city ordinance? I understand you say nobody else is doing it, but we're not receiving complaints from anybody else.
Mr. Kaneko?
I'm sorry, you there? Hello?
Yep, still here.
Okay, when you say direct billing, what procedure are you expecting? Can you clarify on that?
Maybe Attorney New could speak to that.
So the ordinance requires that all direct billings for the tolls per the city be billed directly to the vehicle owner. So if you receive a call from the police department that there's a toll that needs to be done, Racine Recovery should be conducting that tow and then billing the owner directly for that. You should not be passing the vehicle along to Finishing Touch or any other third parties to bill for that towing. Now, once the tow is done, if the owner, the vehicle owner, wanted to perform any other services to the car, such as repairs, there should be a separate agreement, and that third company should then bill the owner directly and separately for any of those charges so that you can keep the charges separate, because Finishing Touches does not have the ability to bill for the towings. So the committee is asking, if they grant you a license, would you be able to send the bill directly from Racine Recovery to the vehicle owner just for the tows in the amount listed in the ordinance and not use Finishing Touches? Can you do that, Mr. Kaneko?
Mr. Kaneko.
Are you there? So I'll give you the scenario. Let me make sure I'm understanding this. So we get called next on the list and we pick up a vehicle on Friday night, and come Monday morning, the customer arrives at the yard. They state they want their vehicle at Finishing Touch for repairs. You want me to bill the owner for that portion and then move it, hand them over to the body shop basically? Is that, am I following you correctly?
That's exactly what you should do, because you're two separate companies.
Okay, so now I'll throw the second scenario that will happen. So the customer will say, I have insurance, I have a claim now. Are we billing then the insurance company for that tow? Or are we requiring the customer to pay for it to get reimbursed?
The ordinance states any billing for general public toll shall be made directly to the vehicle owner. If the vehicle owner then gives you permission to give that bill to the insurance company, that would be up to the owner. But it does require you to give it directly to the owner first.
Mr. Kaneko, you want to respond to that before I go to Alder Peterson? Not Peterson, Alder Perez.
I'm sorry, I thought it was on, but I was muted. So we would need basically a signed documentation from the owner giving us approval to move the bill to the insurance company then, if they want that type of billing.
There's no signed documentation required, but you should be billing the owner directly. Now, if you wanted to keep a paper trail to make sure that these are allegations are not made against you in the future and that the allegations are incorrect, then I would definitely keep a paper trail. That would be helpful.
Yeah, that sounds feasible to keep it separated. I mean, that's the goal here, is to keep everything separated. And then once it hands its way down to any shop of the choosing, because they may want their vehicle at another shop, so then that becomes their shop's direct issue then, I guess. I mean, if that's the way you guys want it done. I mean, I can assure you that no one else is doing it like that, but.
Okay, Alder, are you finished, Mr. Kaneko?
Yeah.
Alder Perez.
Thank you, Mr. Horton. Here's my assessment looking at this. This is the third time there's been complaint. Can everybody else mute, because this is ridiculous that there's so much feedback. Thank you. Okay, so we're looking at it as an organization, as a government organization that's dealing with a company in the community. Of course, we need vehicles. We need tow trucks to pick up our car crash vehicles, for example, or abandoned vehicles in the road, whatever we use the rotation for. It's problematic that the owner is insistent that he is doing everything right, but yet from just the face appearance, it doesn't appear that way. There appear to be overcharges and almost fraud, which I'm not saying there is, I'm saying there is an appearance of it. I don't think that we can be responsible as a community and continue to do business with a company that hasn't gotten their organization in order enough to work properly, evidentiary and legally within the parameters that have been set by our standards and our ordinances. I granted that there could be some confusion. I granted that there could be some unknowns along the way. And if it were the first time, I would say, hey, get your company in order. We'll continue to use you and, keep your nose clean. Anyone can make a mistake. But the way this is being defended from this company is problematic to me. As a previous investigator who did this kind of stuff, this kind of objection and anger that's even being displayed or sounds like it's being displayed is very problematic for me. I am concerned. We're all in a tight community here. We have needs, but we've already now said there has been a COVID charge. There's a transfer charge from one building to the other side of the building because it's the same address. That's ridiculous. What are we then a party if there's a lawsuit over this? Are we a party to it because we're the ones that have them on the tow rotation? I think we're setting ourselves up for liability. And even though we only have 4 companies, if we include this one, and the other three will benefit from getting more business, I think we need to cut off our relationship at this point until they can establish a better procedure and come back and request a new license. I am done with dealing with what appears to be at its face a fraudulent operation. And I don't think we can be a party to that. That's all I have to say for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Alder Perez. Chief Robinson.
Alder Perez summed it up beautifully because I'm the newest guy here on the call regarding these tow companies, but this company sounds like it's been in business on our tow list for quite a while, and you still can't get it right. I don't get it, and I'm not comfortable with that either.
Chairman Cole.
Yeah, I'm just, so I guess I'm gonna question, I mean, I know when this tow company first came online and stuff, other tow companies had a problem with it because they didn't want the competing business. But I guess, to be fair here, could we find out what the billing practices are from these other tow companies? And then my next thing would be is, Mr. Kaneko is on notice, big time. And I'm wondering if there could be some type of probationary period where we could come back and revisit this and see how it's going. Because I am concerned about, with winter coming and stuff, like the lack of towing companies in the city of Racine. But do we know if how do we find out? Can we go out and find out and ask if there's other towing companies doing some of these practices? We're going after one because these other ones are saying this is happening. But how do we know this isn't happening with the rest of them? Just a question. Thank you.
We haven't gotten other complaints, and Attorney New can tell us, does the ordinance establish the rate?
Did the
So
attorney
Alder-
know?
Yes,
Go
Alder
ahead.
Horton, thank you for
Yeah.
that. To answer your question, Chief Robinson, are you asking if the ordinance requires us to give them an opportunity to abate?
No, did the ordinance establish what the rate was that we're what they're supposed to charge?
Yes, so there is a chart in the ordinance that is very specific. It lays out exactly what each tow company can charge. And to Alder Cole's question about whether or not other companies are doing this, I typically receive complaints from the police department anytime there's a licensing issue. This is the only time, actually twice now, the first time also being Racine Recovery, that I've received a complaint from regarding a tow company violating the ordinance. So I have not received any complaints about any other towing company violating the ordinance or doing anything similar.
And they've been providing service to for how many years?
They have been licensed since 2015.
So they're not new to this.
Alder Caprillion, go ahead.
Thank you, Alder Horton. I appreciate it. I would not be in support of allowing them this type of probationary period. They have been in business for 6 years. They have had encounters with the police department, bringing to their attention the discrepancy of how they're handling business compared to our expectations and our ordinance with the city. They were not able to rectify it then. I think they've had a chance every single day that they conduct business is their chance. And so now we're at this point. And I think Alder Perez, he hit a lot of things that I was going to bring up. He did it more eloquent than I am going to do. But as a government entity, and if we're going to connect ourselves with business, the standard has to be high. We're being looked at. It is expected of us. And we should not be connected where there is any possibility of shady business going on, even if just by the appearance of it, because of the type of scrutiny and what we have, and that we expect businesses to be of high standard. And if we are connected with them, we too should be of that same high standard. At those times that the police department did have some type of interaction with this company, they had the opportunity to ask questions then. This process will be up again. I think it's around June when the renewal, I believe, is supposed to come up. So I'm not going to be in support of approving a renewal for this company if they want to go ahead and work on their practices. And at the time that the applications are being considered, they can come forth and then show that they have put into place new practices. But I don't see that now, and it hasn't been done. So I will not be in support of approving this. And depending on the rest of this committee, I'd even entertain that motion.
Thank you, Alder Caprillion. Alder Perez.
Thank you, Alder Horton. Yeah, so we are liable in a sense because we have a relationship with this company. And when you get involved in a car crash, the police department is the one that requests a tow. It's not the individual. And so we are a component in the linear relationships. And if this continues, we're holding ourselves liable. We have enough issues already in the city. We don't need another issue because of tow truck drivers. As a matter of fact, at this point, if it's appropriate, I'd like to make a motion that we revoke their license to work within the city. Is that something that can be done, Attorney New?
Go ahead, Attorney New.
Thank you. Technically, the license expired in June because the renewals were all late. At this point, a motion to deny the renewal application would be more appropriate, Alder Perez.
All right, thank you. I'd like to make a motion that we deny their license approval.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to deny the license of item 079821 about renewal of their license. All in favor? Signify
Aye.
by saying aye.
Aye.
Oh,
I believe
just
there's
one-
still discussion. I'm not sure if.
Yeah,
Alder
yeah,
Peterson-
I
I'm sorry.
want to, sorry about that, Alder Peterson. Go ahead, Alder Peterson, then we'll come back to that.
Just for clarification from Attorney Lou, could you please, Attorney New, sorry, could you please clarify with me? If they get a license, can they operate within the city but be removed from the call list? And leave it up to the customers to decide whether or not they want to use these companies?
No. So the license would permit them to be included in the list that requires RPD to use.
Thank you very much.
Any, Chairman Cole. You're muted, Chairman Cole. You're muted.
I think a clarification of what Neil just had to say. So anybody can call. So if in the city of Racine, anybody can call any tow company they want. So if I don't want that tow company, I could still call Racine Recovery to tow my vehicle. Am I correct, Neil?
Let me just double check that specific question. Just to clarify, Alder Peterson, they can't tow for the city tows. For example, if RPD needs a tow, they can't be on that list, but they can continue to do business in the city with private tows. With respect to your question, Alder Cole, I just have to check one thing before I answer that. So we can move on and just give me 1 minute here.
All it was for clarification.
I'm sorry, did I answer your question, Alder Cole?
Yeah, no, all it was for clarification. You said you were checking on something, and so I was waiting, that's all.
Okay, what exactly is your question, though? Are you
Oh,
asking?
no, my question is, they can still tow in the city of Racine. Like, for instance, if my car broke down, I could, or if I had a crash, I could ask for them to come and tow me. Am I correct?
Let me, please give me 1 minute. So the ordinance does state that if the owner of a vehicle to be told makes a specific request for a named towing service, the police officer at the scene shall so inform the dispatcher and the request shall be complied with if reasonably possible. However, because these tows are done by the police department, any request would have to be off of the license list. So if Racine Recovery is not licensed, the police department cannot use that. Now, the owner can directly call Racine Company to request that tow, but the police department would not be able to use them.
Right, that's what I was trying to say. Thank you.
Any other discussions? We have on the floor, we have a motion by Alder Perez, second by Alder Capri, to deny the license, the towing license. So I think we were just informed. So all in favor of denial of this license signify by saying aye.
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 Opposes? Motion carries. Thank you. And at this time, I will yield the floor back to the chairman, Chairman Cole. You're muted, Chairman Cole.
Okay, last item of business. 0914-21, communication on behalf of the City of Racine Police Liaison of the Public Safety and Licensing Committee, requesting the consideration of the license premise report for 11/8/2021 and any formal expression of concern pursuant to it. Rob, is anything on the list jump out at you?
Two things of note specifically, Maxine's and Rhino Bar. On this report right here, I see that they're both, well, Maxine is on twice, Rhino Bar is on 3 times. Obviously from doing this since July, Maxine's and Rhino Bar have come up a number of times. I went back until from June 1st of this year until today's date, and Maxine's has 9 calls for service. The same time frame, Rhino Bar has 15 calls for service. Most of those calls are coming from one caller. So that kind of, you have to take a little bit of context with that. However, I do take that one person's calling serious. So I can't tell a shift commander exactly how to run their shift. However, my plan is I would like to get in contact because these calls are coming in on 3rd shift. So I would like to get in contact with the 3rd shift commander, give him a little bit of background as far as what I see what he has on his agenda to do with some of this, and then go from there. At this time, I don't think that we need to call anyone in, or that would be my suggestion, that we don't need to call anyone in. However, I would like to work with the shift commander and give him my data and see where he wants to go from there.
What I'd like to say, I got a call from Evelyn that owns Maxine's. And part of the problem is now they've been closing early, but part of the problem, and I guess they'll have to contact the police department, there's cars going in there after hours and people are partying in the parking lot. I happened to go do the Halloween thing last week, and it was early, and I saw people, the bar wasn't that crowded, but I saw that lot was full of people, and the lot next door, that's a closed business, which is a transmission shop. Everybody was parked in there, and she wants to know how she can address that problem. And I did tell them, call the police as much as you can. It doesn't go against you if you call the police. And when I went in there that night for that, I told them that they ought to start closing the bar, which they did start closing early because it was starting where vehicles could not even drive down Washington Avenue over there.
Yeah, when I go back and look at the calls that I referenced, the 9 calls from June 1st of this year until today's date, there's not one parking violation that was called in by the owner. So we're going there for noise violations, fights, civils, intoxicated people. There's no parking issues that are being called in. So yeah, I would definitely, if her or her employees have issues with parking, give us a call. We'll come there. We'll see if they're associated with the bar. And if we can ticket them if no one's associated with the car, or we can have them leave. But yeah, that'd be on her to give us a call.
Yep. And I also did inform her that if there's any issues like this, you need to call the police. You can't wait for somebody else to call the police. So hopefully they get this addressed. But you addressing the 3rd shift police officers would be a great help though too. But thank you much.
Yeah,
So there's not.
I'll definitely reach out to them, and then at our next meeting, I'll give you a recap of what they're going to do on 3rd shift.
All right, then. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. If there's nothing else on here, I would entertain a motion.
Chairman Cole.
Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry about that. Didn't want to cut in. I didn't know if you seen my hand. Also, Officer Ortiz, the other thing on here is like double vision. I've been having a lot of issues with this. I've talked to Kevin a couple of times, and it just seems I got a long email last week from someone who lives in the area. It said about 20 people was out there fighting. Somebody was on top of a hood with the person on top of the hood driving down the street with that person. And so is there anything, Officer Ortiz, that we can Sergeant Ortiz, that we can have a conversation about double vision also? Or are you aware of the situation?
The thing with double visions and why it's not coming across my my desk as much is that when I look up double vision, which is 3101 Douglas, from I think the same, again, I went back until middle of summer, so June 1st until today's date, there's only 9 calls for service to that bar. 2 of those calls are from us, are from Racine Police Department doing extra attention. So every time we go out to somewhere and we do an extra attention, we'll punch a form. So out of that 9, 2 of them are directly from us giving extra attention. So that would leave 7. Out of that 7, 1 is a rescue run where someone had a medical issue at the bar related to their Crohn's disease. They had a shot earlier in the day and they had some medical issues. 1 was a wanted party that was inside the bar that when we got there, we did arrest them. So as far as like a lot of issues over that time period that I'm keep referencing, there wasn't there's not coming that direct correlation as far as like there's a real big problem at that bar. Now, when I go a little bit deeper and I start researching the other locations, in particularly the 3000 block of Douglas, the 3100 block of Douglas, the 1500 block of Lombard, and then Douglas and Lombard, now I see a little bit different pattern. However, when you look at those, a lot of times people are calling in issues that, in the 1500 block of Lombard, there's reckless driving, there's motorcycles spinning their wheels, driving reckless. We've got calls for the corner of Lombard and Douglas where there's a loud civil or a loud fight outside the bar, but it's not directly correlated with that bar itself. So those aren't necessarily going to come across in a licensed premise report that I'm trying to generate. So my thing would be with any of the neighbors, if you do talk to any neighbors, is if they call it in and they believe it's associated with the bar, to reference that bar. Now, if police get there and they can justify that that issue has nothing to do with the bar, then they can change that location themselves. But it still would put the actual address of the bar on my licensed premise report, and then I can look at it. If it doesn't have anything to do with the bar, I can put that in the notes. If it has something to do with the bar, then obviously we get that information directly. So that would be one suggestion, that if you're talking to neighbors in the community, let them know to reference the actual address. That is also something now that I look at these other locations, and it does look like there's a little bit more of a pattern of some civils, some fights, reckless driving, people spinning out their wheels and such. That's another bar that I can get third shift, put on the radar, and ask them what they intend to do.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much. If you could do that, I really appreciate it.
Yep, I will.
Alder Trillian, did you have something?
Yes, thank you. Actually, and I'm glad Alder Horton brought it up. I too got a phone call from one of Alder Horton's constituents just as of recent. So I was kind of waiting for this committee's meeting. So then I was going to speak with you, Alder Horton. So the complaints have come in with a 2-block radius of double vision. And I happened to go over there. I've never frequented that location or that bar, but I went over there this afternoon. You do see on the street the tire marks. There's circle tire marks right on the street right there. I had the opportunity just to go in this afternoon. Granted, it's in the afternoon, and I believe even with this one call that's happening that's on our report, it's in the later hours, but just really getting familiar with the space. It's a neighborhood bar, a lot of older patrons in there. Was able to talk to the bartender and ask if there's a different night crowd. And I said there's a lot of complaints about motorcycles. And they said that's one of the bartenders, a retired veteran. Also, volunteers for, I don't know if it's Veteran Outreach, the tiny homes, and they also work at another establishment, and he works there Tuesdays. So there's a lot of following with him there. But she says absolutely safe. It's just the same neighbors, just always complaining. They don't want to live by a bar, but unfortunately we're here. We've been here a long time before, you know, their age. And so she really just said it's just neighbors, not liking living by a bar. And she's like, back in the 70s, she used to frequent that bar, and it was a lot rowdier, she says, than what it is now. And she feels it's completely safe. So I wanted to put that out there, but I'm glad you're talking about it, Alder Horton. And then for Police Officer Ortiz, if you could just definitely help us out, you know, Alder Horton and myself, to try to really get a better understanding to help the neighbors and this business owner become better partners, better neighbors. You know, much appreciated anything you can do to help us out. And then Alder Horton, I will connect with you real soon just to let you know more details of what I found out.
Alder Horton, and then
all right. Thank you, Alder Caprilli, for that for that clarification. Thank you. So we will talk after this. I just want to say thank you.
Okay, and I just got to say before Rob Ortiz wants to speak, another thing about this bar is it was a neighborhood bar called Max's for probably 35 years, and probably the last 10 or 15 years, he wasn't open very late at night, so people are not used to this kind of thing going either. So that's it. Mr. Sergeant Ortiz, did you have something to add?
Yeah, and again, third shift is a good resource. Obviously, a lot of the things that happen on third shift. I can also reach out to our community-oriented policing unit and get them involved a little bit. We don't have a house per se in that area. However, obviously everyone knows that hasn't stopped us before sending our COP unit into other areas to work with business owners and advising them of some of the issues and some of the complaints in the neighborhood. Because as you know, one of the issues that we're going to have is when these problems arise, which is usually 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning, we have limited police resources trying to do the same extra attention across the city. And on top of that, deal with the other calls for service. So a lot of times these calls come in, by the time we are able to free up some of our resources and get over there, those vehicles that are spinning the wheels or driving reckless are obviously already out of the area. So I know it's frustrating for the neighbors, but with the limited resources that we do have, you know, it's something that we do address, but probably not in the time frame that the neighbors would want it dealt with. So we can work with third shift, we can work with COP unit, we can get involved with the owner and the bartenders, and then also go into the neighborhoods and talk to the neighbors. So hopefully with a comprehensive plan, we can kind of get this under control.
Anybody else? And I would entertain a motion to receive and file.
Motion to receive and file.
We have a second. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any more questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. Well, being that exhausts our business, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.